I mean, the ABA is starting to cover it at the ABA, which is the American Bar Association fall meeting. They're going to be specifically discussing DAOs. The SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, has expressed that they're specifically looking at DAOs. And we're obviously following these conversations closely because we have to be careful how we advise clients. Just because you have a DAO that's a legally recognized entity in Wyoming doesn't mean what you do with it, right? And how you roll that out might be legally compliant in every jurisdiction. And so we've had to kind of walk that fine line of making sure that we know what we're doing and how the law works in Wyoming, but we don't obviously know how these DAOs are going to interact with New York law or even federal securities laws. So we've definitely seen a huge amount of attention. There's a lot of excitement in the blockchain and digital asset space about DAOs, but there's still a lot of questions too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the fun part, right? About trying to figure out, everyone's trying to figure out how to harmonize a DAO in Wyoming with SEC laws and how they're going to regulate, whether they're going to consider certain tokens securities or whether it's going to be a utility token, whatever it may be. Everyone around the country is trying to figure this out. So it's fun to be on the front lines of it and be a part of setting the standard and develop the law as we go along. It's pretty neat. And with the interest, I mean, you see it everywhere. And it's a cool thing to see on Twitter, everywhere that Wyoming's being mentioned, our firm is being mentioned, our attorneys are being mentioned, all with relation to digital assets and DAOs.
And I'll just say one more thing. It's fun because this, I think, gets overlooked sometimes, but Wyoming was the state that created the LLC to begin with. And so it's really fun, I think, to experience this all over again, in a new way. We now have we can call it a subtype of LLC, but it's first of its kind in the world, the first place in the world to recognize this new type of LLC. So I think it's really fitting that it's Wyoming.
When Wyoming first enacted the LLCs in the late 70s, there was a lot of skepticism. People didn't think it would work. People didn't think the IRS would recognize it or other states would recognize it. Within a few years, every state had an LLC Act, and Wyoming really led that. And I think a DAO is the first time, probably since the LLC Act in Wyoming was enacted, that you truly do have a new form of operation that is limited liability, and to your points earlier, does solve a lot of the problems with why does my CEO get paid, 150 times what I get paid. You can really move the governance and the decision making from boards and CEOs who have their own interests to the actual people that own the organization. And I think it's the first time that that's happened, maybe worldwide. And so there's certainly a hope that not only will the DAO be a very interesting organization for people interested in crypto and people interested in blockchain, but maybe someday it moves to brick and mortar and Main Street as a way to organize your entity in a way that you're not giving up all that control to somebody whose interests maybe don't align with yours.